Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin from Florals.com and today I have a twist and fold card tutorial for you today. Now I don't have my example with me because I already gave it away, but I did share a twist and fold card on my channel earlier this year and you guys said you wanted a tutorial on actually how to make it, so I'm going to show you. We're going to start with the inside piece, the piece that's actually the mechanism to do the twist and fold. And this piece of paper is cut at 8.5 by 10 3/4. So you can see I already have my score lines on here. So on the short side, so this side, I scored at 2 1/4, 4 1/4, 6 1/4. Then I turned my paper either way. So now on the long side, you're going to score at, let's see, 3 7/8, 5 7/8, and 6 7/8. So once you have all of that scored, we're actually going to cut. So I have my scissors here, and we're going to cut out all of these corner rectangles. So, these sides here will actually be the mat of your inner piece when you're done. So you want to take your time when you're cutting those. You can also keep these little chunks that you're cutting to use for the front of your card perhaps, or you can keep them for another card. Because white cardstock is always in need to be used on something. There we go. So you can see we're starting to get a shape here. And I have a lot of my other pieces pre-cut as well. I figured that would save time on the tutorial. And as long as I tell you the size, it'll make it easier. So this is not a heavyweight cardstock. I did use heavyweight cardstock the last time I did this and found it a lot more difficult for a first time. So I decided to use a lighter weight cardstock. So this is probably 80 pound, in case you're wondering. So now we have this. And we cut the 4 corners, so now you have like a cross shape, right? So we're actually going to trim these little edges a little bit off. That way the folding mechanism fits more properly into the card. So these edges on the long rectangle pieces are actually the mat of the card, the inside of the card. So you're just going to cut a little bit off of each one of these. Some people say 1/4 inch. I just wing it. It's a lot easier that way. You could measure it out if you want it to be a little more pretty, in case someone does look at the back of your card. But that's not very likely to happen, at least with the people I give my cards to. So now that we have that done, we're going to do our folds. So if you've seen the inside of a twist and fold card, you'll know that there's a pointy shape involved. So to get that pointy shape, we need to pay attention to this crosshair mark right here. So I'm going to grab my bold folder, and what you're going to do is you're going to take this line on the short edge, so you have your short rectangle mark, and you're going to line it up with this one. So what I mean by that is we're going to fold it diagonally, like so. We're going to line up these marks. So on the other side of your paper, you should be able to find your crosshair mark, and it should line up with that, ideally. So if we look, you probably can't see this on camera, but it does line up pretty well. And if it doesn't, you can scoot it over a little bit if you have to. It's okay. So we're going to do that on both sides. I might have to redo that first one. I don't think it's done enough. So essentially they should all meet in the middle, both diagonals plus your original cross marks. And these will all be covered up, so don't worry if you mess up the first time. Like this, the first one I actually did mess up a little bit. So make sure you take your time with this. You want the best card possible for the recipient. So you want to make sure that they're lined up perfectly. There we go. So like I said, all of these lines will be covered up. So now I have 2 that meet in the middle. So now what you're going to do is you take these two outside edges and you go like this. You just bend them in a little bit on their fold lines. And then you go like this, and you can see that the outside larger pieces are starting to push in. That's what you want. So you roll with it, and you push this down, and then you're going to get this and score it out. So you can see here's the point I was talking about. It's on the inside of a card on a twist and fold. So here's our mechanism. These outside panels will attach to the base of our card, and when you open it, this will cause the movement. So now that we're done with that, we're going to work on the accordion piece. This piece of cardstock, which again, lightweight cardstock, is 3 by 11 inches. You can use heavy duty cardstock for all of this. I just find it harder to do on my first card. So again, this is 3 by 11 inches, scored at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, and 8 1/4. And then once it was scored, I just folded it every opposite way, so it looks like an M or a W, whatever way you're looking at it. So now you want your inside pieces, so the decoration part on this piece, which I've already done here, these little pieces are cut to 2 3/4 by 2 1/2, so they give you the perfect match of this cardstock. Of course, you can change that size as you please. On my last card that I did, which again you can check out on my channel, I did 2 layers of paper on the inside. So for each of these panels, I did a couple different things. So for this one that I'm gluing down now, I took a stamp, which I'll show you here, from the Scrappy Happiness Monthly Stamp Club, which is old, and stamped this little frame on some crepe paper, notes and things, butterfly paper, as you can see there, and I added a little sticker, which is actually from Sticko, and I used those stickers all over on this card. I can't add a lot of dimension on this piece because that'll make the card way too bulky, so this is the way I do it. On this next panel, I used a Technique Tuesday stamp from the Take Care set, and I just stamped Thinking of You in Memento Black ink. I really liked creating my own die cuts for this card. I can definitely use a lot of scrapbooking items on this card, I found, which was really fun because I normally don't do that. I usually stick to my card making supplies. So you're just going to glue down all of these panels to each section. And then the next one, I used another stamp from the Scrappy Happiness Monthly Stamp Club, as well as a tag from my stash, and another sticker from the Sticko collection. I'll show you that sticker set so you can see what I'm talking about. It is this one. I bought this a while ago, but it was on clearance at Michael's. And then the last one, I used another piece of crepe paper, pattern paper, and just put a little block of it on there, and then use a Tim Holtz word sticker to make a fun little saying. So this is going to fold up inside your card. Now we're going to glue it to the mechanism itself. Well, actually, yeah, no, we're going to glue it in. So what you're going to do is you're going to attach the left side to this bottom rectangle, and you're going to attach the right side to the top rectangle. So only these two pieces will have glue on them. You can also do it the other way. You just make sure only one rectangle has glue on it, because when they collapse, if you have glue on both of them and your panel's only touching one, it's going to be messy and it's going to stick together. I like to use a mixture of wet glue and my tape glue just to make sure it holds. You don't want it to come apart for the recipient. So just some tape glue and some liquid glue, but not a lot of liquid glue because you don't want it to warp. So again, I'm just going to attach this to here. Hold it down for a moment. I'm going to attach this one to here. And once they're dry, I'm going to give them a little bit. You'll see that they perfectly fold up and go inside the mechanism. It may need a more, you might have to sandwich it some more because your accordion might not be as tight as you thought it was. When you open it, ta-da! Now I did mine in a W. My last one was an M shape, so if you can tell, it looks like a W from the top. But I like this way better because it adds a lot more dimension. Again, feel free to do whichever one you want. It just depends which way you glue the things on. I like this one because it's almost like a storybook, so you have this side and then you have this side, and I like how it separates the words out because I like to put a lot of words on my cards. But again, totally up to you. Now we're going to do a panel right inside here to cover up our score lines. I have some pieces cut, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them, but they are cut to 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. Well, this one is. This one I was going to try something different, but we'll see if that works out. So we're just going to fold that together so we can cut our piece. So this is a mat for the inside of the card. So you're just going to give it a little bit of a border, and you're going to flip it over and trace. Just approximately. And then you're just going to trim that out a little bit shorter than it is on this paper. So you're going to go on the inside of the line, which is usually not recommended. You won't be able to see this well anyway, because if I show you, oops, I opened it upside down. This will just go in here, and it adds a nice little touch of color to the inside of the card, which matches this stripe, which I really like. So we're just going to glue this one into place. So you just slide it right in. And set it down. So now there's a lot more color on the inside of the card. And I was originally going to do just a small strip up here, but I'm wondering if I should do a different color. I think I'm going to stick with the same patterned paper. So I'm going to do this colored pattern paper again. Should I make the stripe the same way? I can't make the stripe the same way, can I? I think we're just going to make a thin strip instead, which I've never done before either. I just thought it'd be a little bit alleviating to the eyes to not see so much color. So I'm just going to line this one up with the center. In case you're wondering how to make other layers for your card, you just line it up in the center, trace again, and then cut on the inside of the trace lines again, because you won't be able to see that part anyway. So now I have this little piece, and it's going to go in here. So we're just going to add more glue. There are so many takes on twist and fold cards that you can find a plethora of different tutorials online. This is the one I know how to do. I'm sure there's plenty of other ones, but feel free to try more out. I'll take no offense if you don't like my tutorial, because I'm not a heavy card maker producer. So there we go, got a lot of color going on. So the inside is technically done. You can add more, you gotta add your writing in, you know. So now we're going to move on to the outside panel. So this is somehow gonna fit into here, right? So what you're gonna do is you're going to put glue on this side, and then it's gonna go in here, as so. So what I found is that you need to make sure that your thing's not upside down. First step. Second step, I like gluing the bottom before the top. I don't know why, just a thing I do. So we're going to add lots of tape adhesive. I would recommend a strong adhesive for this. I'm probably not using the strongest adhesive I should be, but I'm also going to add a little bit of liquid glue. My card base here is just a regular A2 size card. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, so you score it at 5 1/2. And this is heavyweight cardstock because it needs to be able to hold up the mechanism for the long run. So a little bit of liquid glue. And the point, again, is going towards the fold of your card. You can open it one last time to make sure it's not upside down. Mine's not upside down. Close her back up. And then there's going to be a mat of craft cardstock on mine. So just make sure you line that up kind of straight. Mine was not. Okay. Then you're going to open it up and push it down. You're going to close it and push it down. And now you're going to be able to do this, and then your card's going to open up beautifully. So we're going to put glue on this side of the outside panel of the mechanism. Like I said, there are plenty of different twist and fold tutorials, so if this one doesn't appeal to you or it seems too complicated, there are simpler ones. My glue's not wanting to cooperate. Again, liquid glue, because I find that it does hold much better. So we're just going to close it up. There we go. I don't think it's perfectly straight on the inside, but that's okay. So now when you open it, it pops and folds. So yeah, you can see that this one on the top here is not straight, but that's perfectly fine. It doesn't bother me that much. And I know the person I'm sending this to will also not be bothered. So now we're going to decorate the outside of our card. I already picked out some items. This is another paper from the Crepe Paper Notes and Things collection. I had a lot of scraps to use up of that paper. What the heck is going on with my glue? We're just going to use some liquid glue for now. And I really wanted to use those scraps up. Again, a little bit of liquid glue goes a long way, so be aware of that when you're making these types of cards. So I have a chipboard piece from Heidi Swap, and then this die cut piece from We Are Memory Keepers. I thought they looked so cute together, so I thought I would try that out. I always use liquid glue on chipboard because it's a heavy duty, heavier product, so you want to make sure it definitely sticks down forever. This is not a card I would recommend mailing in a regular envelope. I would say this is 1/4 inch thick at its thickest, and I did not use heavyweight cardstock except for the outside piece. So again, I would only hand deliver these cards, which I said in my original video about twist and fold cards, but again, totally up to you. Whatever packaging materials you have might work. So now maybe we'll add some enamel dots. I think that sounds like a good plan. These enamel dots are from Cartabella, which is Echo Park, a different brand of Echo Parks. Just gonna add some pink, different shades of pink. And I think that our card is complete. If you guys enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, I would love if you left me suggestions down in the description of what you wanted to see. This was a requested video, again, oops, after the last video I made about twist and fold cards. You guys, you said I wanted to see an actual tutorial after my card share, so here's your tutorial. Again, not 100% perfect, but when is live television ever perfect? As I call myself, TV. So you can see my mechanism even has some problems, but it's fine. You just have to make sure the person knows how to put it back together so they're not stuck with an open card. But for the most part, it works. So let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Again, leave me suggestions down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you thought of this card. It's like a sort of thinking of you, how are you doing sort of card. And again, you can write down here. Hopefully yours doesn't end up as crooked as mine. The cardstock I started with was like my cheapo cardstock, so I'm not sure if it wasn't cut properly and I just didn't notice or what went on there, but it's perfectly fine. You know, just roll with the punches if you're making one of these cards. They can be a little complicated. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and be sure to subscribe if you did enjoy this. I do have card videos at least once a month. I do primarily focus on scrapbooking videos though. But hello to all you new people if you're new. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!